Well, how's it going, friends? So it's the end of March. Been kind of a crazy winter here in Michigan. At the end of February, we had a pretty big warm up. All the guys around here started thinking about catching walleye early. Then we had a big cold front move in. The river was already free of ice, and then a bunch of new ice formed on St. Clair and Huron, and all that ice came down the Detroit River the last few weeks. Cleared out a week or so ago, but the water temp's still in the mid-30s, mid to upper 30s. I've heard a lot of guys on. I've read a lot of guys on Facebook asking questions, particularly guys new to the sport. Hey, I've never done this walleye jigging before. How do you go out and jig for walleye, vertical jig for walleye in the Detroit River? So tomorrow we're going to give it a try. It's still a little bit early. I don't have high hopes for catching a whole bunch of fish, but we'll at least put together a little short video, just kind of demonstrate the basics of vertical jigging. All right, good morning, sports fans. End of March, Detroit River. Yesterday's the first day I actually heard of guys starting to catch a few walleye out here in the river. The water temp's coming up pretty quick. We're finally approaching the upper 30s. Actually, I'm reading right around 39 degrees this morning. Everybody likes to see about 40 or 42, but I can live with 39 for now. I don't have super high hopes for a limit this morning. I'm really just interested in shooting a quick video. I've heard a lot of guys talking on Facebook that they new to jigging, just trying to get some of the concepts down to vertical jigging for walleye. So really my intent this morning is to shoot a quick video on just kind of the basics of vertical jigging. Vertical jigging is not just something we do for walleye. It's certainly a tactic that guys will use bass fishing. We saw that this year on the Bassmaster Elite Series event on Cherokee. Although I will say that vertical jigging in a swift river environment is kind of a different beast. Out here we'll see most everybody jigging the river this time of year, early in the season for walleye. Once the muskie season opens, you'll see some guys jigging for muskie. So it's a pretty versatile tactic. I see that the water is quite high. The water is completely over the breakwall here at Elizabeth Park Marina. Visibility looks to be halfway decent. So I'm just going to take a look, see what I can see on the graph, see if we can locate some fish, and see if we can catch a couple. First day out walleye fishing for the year, so I'm pretty excited. I've been waiting about 5 or 6 weeks for the weather to cooperate. We had a very, very warm February this year, so a lot of guys were looking forward to an early walleye season. And then right around early March, we had a typical late Michigan winter. Things got really cold again. A bunch of new ice formed. Pretty much set us back 3 or 4 weeks. So, oh well, here it is. Ice is all gone. River temp's coming up. If not today, any day now. Let's see what we can get. I come under the bridge, I see there's already got a bunch of guys down here hitting them pretty hard. I can count at least a half a dozen boats down there. Maybe before we get started, I'll go over just a couple of the basics. So the beautiful thing about one of the most beautiful things about this particular tactic this time of year on this body of water, just about anybody can get into this sport. You don't need to have a fancy rig, you don't need fancy equipment. A guy can get out here in a 14 to 16 foot deep V aluminum boat. Just really all you need is something that's safe enough to navigate this body of water. And this body of water can get a little crazy with boat traffic, or can get a little rough with the wrong wind. So you definitely want a rig that's safe out here, but there are plenty of 14-foot rigs that are safe. As far as equipment goes, 6.5 to 7 foot medium action spinning rod is really about all you need. I like this 6 foot 9 inch medium Kistler. It's got just the right amount of tip. A lot of guys think that they want a short rod for this, but you get a 5.5 or a 6 foot rod, and you just really don't, in my opinion, you don't move enough line on the hook set. So that's why I go with a slightly longer rod. I don't want to go over 7 foot, but I think the 6.9's just about the right length. Definitely want a little bit of backbone to it. And really the trick to this out here is braid. 6 to 10 pound braid. I don't use a fluorocarbon leader for this. But the braid's really important. And I like a high vis braid. I particularly like that because when I'm running the trolling motor, it lets me quickly see where my line's at. But something in the 6 to 10 pound test, if you do get snagged, you just point your rod straight at your snag, grab the top of the spool, pull. Either the jig will come out, or if the line breaks, it'll break right at the jig. So the other piece of the equation is this river's got a lot of current, somewhere in the neighborhood of a 7 mile an hour current most of the time. So this is a lot heavy. You're going to use a lot heavier jigs here than you typically use for walleye fishing. This is no place for 3/8 ounce jigs. I really think, especially if you're new to the sport, stick to the 3/4 ounce. I will use anywhere from a 1/2 ounce to 3/4 ounce the vast majority of the time. Probably my favorite day in, day out is a 5/8 ounce. Stingers are a must. Do not come out here without a stinger hook. I think most guys, if they're honest, will tell you, most guys catch the vast majority of their fish on the stinger hook. Even if the fish gets the jig in the mouth, it's a pretty heavy jig, it's easy for them to throw, but that stinger hook, seriously, most of my fish I land on that stinger hook. So that's the equipment. You got to have a trolling motor. You got to be able to maneuver your boat. You got to be able to keep your boat and your jig at the same speed. So you got a current pulling you down. If you have a wind out of the south, like today we got a little bit of a south wind. If you got a wind out of the south, things get a little tricky, but you've got to be able to keep your boat and your jig at the same speed drifting down the river. If your line gets off at a 45-degree angle, you're not vertical jigging no more. You're really going to be hard pressed to catch fish. So, all right, let's go give this thing a shot.